So it is good day to you, huh? Very good to see each of you and your bright and shining faces. We introduce ourselves. Our name is Adoronda. Very good to see you. Dearest beings of light, as you know, you are here not by accident. You are here to acknowledge that element of peace within this part of the world. As you may have heard today, you are surrounded at this moment by neighbors that are not quite so friendly, huh? And one might look over at the neighbor and think, oh, well, if they could only do this or if they could only do that. But we are just looking at those neighbors and loving them. That is all. Love only. You see, we're going to stand up because we like to see all of those wondrous beings back there. And when we are standing, we are the same height, huh? You see, you have the capability to instill love into each being here that you encounter. The riders of the horses, the drivers of the bus, the people in the market. So we ask you to, each time you encounter someone, that you just take a bit of a short breath and just allow your heart to connect directly with their heart. For you are in a crossroads area. There are ancients here that have come back and forth and back and forth. There are visionaries here in the land from the future. Many of you have seen that this land is different energy. It does not have the chaos of Egypt. It does not have the traffic of Carroll. And that is what you are creating. That is what you are instilling in your vibrational frequency. You see, because the great masters have walked on this land. Take a deep breath. The great masters are you who have walked here before. The great masters are connecting in new and different ways. And I am so grateful you have arrived here. We give thanks to you for your energy is that of the purity of my life. You and I are the same. You know this. You and I are one. You can do what I do. Always. That is why you received the invitation. Even though some of you may not understand my words right now. As you open your heart, you will understand. You see, that heart is the heart of Israel. That heart is the heart of Jordan. When we walked this land together, changes occurred. They will occur again. Thank you. Thank you for accepting the call. Thank you for your willingness, for seeing through the chaos, for seeing through the pain, for seeing the heart and soul of this planet. From your presence here, as each of you, each of us, walk this sacred land of Jordan, know that with every single step, peace will reverberate and radiate out from you. We will be connecting to the leaders of this land and the neighbors of this land. Heart to heart, soul to soul, asking for wisdom to replace ego, asking for love to replace the argument, asking for connection that only humans can experience. Which is why I am here with you. Always. I love you so much. My friends, my family, are your family. You must remember that. And as you do, your heart will swell with love and divine perfection that you are. It is time to stop remembering what you did here and start living what you are here to live. You understand? Love. It is simple. Conquers all, doesn't it? Love breathes all. That is what I am here to remind you once again. We love you deeply. We honor you. And we bid you namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Sometimes the message is the message. And you might have a room filled with those who channel. And there will be a commonality, a common theme between them. It is not an accident that this takes place. And I wished to continue the message of Yeshua. There is something happening on the planet that is unique in this new energy. We speak of history For that is what this particular tour is about. The tour continues, for we are in the country of Jordan. And if you look at the history here, one of the things that is unique in a strife-torn area with those who would oppose Israel, with enemies at every border, it was this country who first made peace. And in order to do that, I'm going to tell you something. It took a king to do something like this. If he had taken a poll of the citizens, it might never have happened. One man's vision of peace between he, the country that he represents, and an enemy that had been an enemy for many, many years. You might even say that this goes back centuries. It's time to stop remembering. And it's time to start looking forward to a future. But what I want to tell you is that there is a new attribute in this energy. There are young people in this country, some of whom are Palestinians, many who are simply Jordanites, who were born after there was peace with Israel. And that is all they've ever known. They grow up knowing about peace between the countries. And then it starts. They are taught in school or by their parents or their friends who are older how they should feel, who did what to whom, how unfair certain things are, and why they should hate the people they should hate. This has been going on for a long time. And dear ones, some of these young people are starting to question that. They're asking very basic questions like, why should we continue a strife that is not even something we had anything to do with? Why should we take history as our guide when it is filled with hate and conflict and war? Why should we perpetuate something that has never, ever brought solution, ever? Where are the new ideas, they would say. And the teachers and the parents would back up and say, you're too young to know. When you get older, you will see what we see. And the young people are saying, that's not the case. When we get older, we will see beyond what you see. And the reasoning for this, in this new energy, is something that is taking place. And I'll give it to you. History is no longer carrying the same impact as it used to. In an old energy, humanity warred. They did war after war after war. And history led them into the next war. And they would take a break and go back at it. Even if there were spaces or lulls between conquerors, another country would have theirs, and on it would go. They seemed to take their turns through history, conquering many, only to be conquered by others. This is an old energy, historic attribute, and it's beginning to shift. With the involvement of human nature, with light starting to be seen better and better, and solutions starting to occur more and more, there's going to be less and less history-driven consciousness. Sometimes it takes a king, and in this time it did. Now, I want to reflect on what this means to you. Now I'm going to turn a page, as my partner says. And I want you to see what I've given you and how it applies to what we're going to discuss. Every single human, especially the old soul, has history. And that is carried in your Akashic record. In an old energy, your Akash would show itself in certain ways. If you had strife in certain lifetimes, it might pop up an energy that would push you in this lifetime. Sometimes it would push you to the dark. Sometimes it would be difficult to conquer. Sometimes you would sabotage yourself and not even know why. The Akash is alive and well. Your past life energies bubble to the surface and sometimes create issues that are lifelong. Here's what I want to tell you. That in this new energy, the history that you experienced in your own Akash is going to be suppressed. You're going to start feeling clearer and not know why. Things that you would normally be afraid of, coming from Akashic experience, will no longer be there. Some unbalances that you have, self-worth issues based upon the past of your Akash will start to clear. Now, human, this is evolution. And it's based in love energy, balance, and compassion. We have said without those three, even the clearing of your Akash won't be enough. In fact, there will be some human beings who will miss the energy that pushes them into unbalance. And they actually will go see some help and say, I'm not feeling the same. I don't have much to worry about anymore. What's wrong with me? This has always been the case for some human beings. But the old soul recognizes the clearing, thankful for it, and saying, this is the new energy. Last year, I sat in Israel. And so did the partner who sits next to me called Marilyn. And we shared a common energy projection. Not telling of the future, but a projection of potential. And the potential was peace. Dear ones, if it can happen here in Jordan, it can happen anywhere. It took a king to do this. So I ask you this. Can you become your own king and push out the things that history has given you that are no longer appropriate for your magnificence? Can you take a deep breath and actually say, no more of this. No more of this. Things that bother you, where you cannot proceed or get ahead, or you feel somehow held back, or for some reason there is always something in the way. That is the Akash. That is who you were for hundreds of lifetimes etched into that soul which you carry in this time. It takes a king. And in your case, you are your king. Don't take a poll of your intellect. Don't take a poll or ask permission of anything but that which is inside that wants to clear it all. The clearing today is going to be far, far easier. These things will diminish, which keep you out of balance, which makes you worry at night or cry when nobody knows you're crying. It's time to see that which is true, that peace is the way of things. It took a king here to create something that will have ramifications in his family for the rest of time. How about you? For the rest of time. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We are again outside in the country of Jordan, in the ancient city ruins of Petra. It's very historic, and some of you are feeling it in very odd ways, and not the ways that we normally talk about. Is it possible, again, that history has a life? And when you speak of those who were here, who built this and used it over the ages, is it possible that there is actually some kind of life that remains because of their consciousness? Some of you are feeling this, but that's not exactly what we wish to speak of. We want to talk about history. I want to talk about your history and what is taking place right now. And in order for me to set the stage for this discussion, I again take you someplace very far away, but very significant in history. More than you know, the Mayan calendar talks about all of these things. Dear ones, this Mayan calendar was shared by three cultures: the Mayans, the Toltecs, the Aztecs. And they all shared the same prophecy with the same calendar. There was expanded information on this in their temples, on the walls of their pyramids, so far away. Their calendar was a long one. In fact, scientists today call their calendar and the duration the long count. And the long count was approximately 5,125 years. Some say 5,128. Dear ones, this is this culture, this civilization, and the time frame of all that you have studied on this tour. The long count, then, represents the current history that you know about, not the history before history. We've spoken of that before. And what the Mayans have said is that at the end of the long count, which is the center of the precession of the equinoxes, something would happen. And that something depended upon the consciousness of the humans at that time. Now, the Mayans were not alone in this prophecy. You'll find it in the ancients all over the planet who looked at the skies and figured it out. They knew, again, about the earth wobble. This is all news I have given to you before. But this time, I want to talk about what they said. If you passed this marker of December 21, 2012, all over the planet, it would start a new energy. This prophecy is around those civilizations that didn't make it, who may have destroyed themselves. It seems that after approximately a certain amount of time, civilizations die. They don't make it. They turn on themselves, usually with war, low energy, and another one starts. You were headed for this, as I've told you numerous times, as the prophecies of your scriptures even said. And yet you made it. You came through those times where you were overdue for a war. And now the earth starts to have a new energy. And this new energy is what I want to speak of yet again for those who are seated in front of me. Now, those who listen later, this is not for you. It's mostly for those who are sampling the history here. For the history has a complement which is alive. The ones who would feel this the most are not necessarily the ones on this tour. They would be the ones who study it. It comes alive for them in certain ways, the more they know. Consciousness has a way of staying in the dirt, in that which we have called the crystalline grid. And what it does is tends to trigger those things within certain old souls, and I want to talk about that. One of the attributes past 2012 in an evolving human race is something we have discussed many times. We call it no more fence sitting. In other words, those things which are out of integrity, which have always worked before, will start to show themselves. And there will come a time, old soul, where you cannot straddle that fence any longer. You cannot have one foot on one side that speaks one thing, and another foot on the other side that speaks another. You cannot be spiritual one day of the week, and the rest of the week be out of spirituality. You cannot have two sides to you and be in balance. Therefore, there are some things you're starting to feel. On this very tour, many of you have spoken of the feelings that you're starting to have. Sometimes it's while you're awake, sometimes it's when you're asleep. There have been those who have gotten sick for an hour or two and then seem to bounce back to full health. There are those who go through the dark night of the soul over a day or two and have no idea what's happening. You can blame it on the water. You can blame it on the pollution. You can blame it on the dirt. But dear ones, this is the old soul's reaction to the history that's here. You're starting to resound to your own Akashic record. It's possible you lived through this. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what's going on now because of it. This starts to explain why some of you have had some discomfort. There are those who are not on the tour today, for they are having discomfort. And this is for the reasons I have spoken of, and the Mayans were right. You are in an energy that is so different from any of the past energies that literally some of you are going through what I call a reboot. Something where you have to go to zero in order to climb out of it and see what is correct and what is not correct in your life. It's almost like it's time to unpack everything that you have packed and put in the closet for years. Examine it and throw away the things that do not suit you anymore. If it's not today, it will be later. Especially those who call themselves old souls. Ones who have been here on this planet for many lifetimes, many incarnations. And remember this, the idea of living again is all part of history. In fact, the further back you go, the more the belief will be there that you reincarnate. The idea of a soul coming in one time for only a few years and leaving is laughable. The soul makes the journey of time. And part of the history of the planet is you. Is it no wonder that you ally yourselves? That is, you relate to that which is here. Somehow, some way, you look at the facades and you feel part of it. It's you. But that is an old energy, and you are moving away from it. So this short channel, once again, takes you right back to the Maya, to the prophecy even of the Hopi. All over the planet, they knew that this time would come. And now you're starting to feel it. And the history that you see here, which is some of the oldest on the planet, is starting to trigger this thing we call no more fence sitting. Are you going to be part of the past or the future? Again, we say, do not let the past become the future. Draw a line in the sand and say, that's old, and what comes is not part of what was. Can you relate to this? Can you apply it to yourself and see the beauty of starting again? And so it is.
So it is a good day to you, huh? Very good to see your adventurous faces, a little sun-kissed on the face, little kissed by the spirit of Ra, eh? And we see that the spirit of Ra is here in this room to heat it up, eh? As you know, dearest, we are with you every moment. We hold that energy of love with, we have a translator, we speak slower, huh? And to know that you will each get the download, no matter whether you hear the words being said or not. For those who we have not met, we introduce ourselves. Our name is Aronda. Very nice to connect with you. A soul who is shifting the consciousness of this planet. Just as each of you are shifting the consciousness of this planet. When you work around and speak to individuals and communicate with them, honor them, connect with them, your heart opens. And so does theirs. And that shifts the consciousness. With that opening of heart, your integrity comes into play. Our dear friend Kryon mentioned it today, that integrity of the soul. Dearest beings of light, I am so grateful that your soul has decided to be here. The integrity of your soul, as you know, is at stake, because that is also the integrity of this planet. When you think poorly about someone else because they told you one price and all of a sudden it's another, that energy goes out. That energy of challenge radiates from your body. That affects everything. That is why I ask you to be aware of that which you are thinking, that which you are saying, that which you are doing in love. I do not think you realize the depth of the integrity that our dearest Kryon mentioned today. Yes, in some cultures, you see an ant on the floor, and instead of stepping on it, you catch it and set it free. That is one culture. I ask you to honor that same energy with humanity, including yourself. You see, when you think poorly about yourself, when you joke, oh, as our vessel Marilyn says, her hairs are all spreading out, not going in the way she wants. Is that in integrity? Her hairs are perfect, as are yours. If things are not working quite the way you think they ought to, that throws your soul out of integrity when you complain about it. Instead, see the solution. See that you are the solution. see the habit of making fun of those that may not be quite so fortunate, including yourself. That is what Adironda asked that divine link to help awareness. I implore each of you to also help the awareness. It may be difficult, but when you see an animal mistreated, as you have today, you must mention it. You must. Now, it may not change anything, and you must mention it with love, not with disgust or accusation. And eventually that will shift the consciousness of this planet. You see, your consciousness shifts all. One person can make a difference. My life could be evidence of that. With that difference, everything changes. Even the animals. I will tell you a story that was told to me through our divine link. Her friends were on a boat waiting for whales, and they never saw any. They were waiting to watch dolphins, hours in the sun, and they never saw any. Finally, just before they went in, they set in the energy of wherever the whales and dolphins are, to just love them, just as you loved the animals today. Just love them. And on the horizon, they saw something, a grouping, a pod of dolphins and a whale. And they seemed to be working together. And as they got closer, there was a wounded, massive sea turtle in the middle of the pod, being assisted by the whale. And they brought the sea turtle to shore. Two species that do not interact much, the sea turtle and the dolphin, or the sea turtle and the whale. And yet they helped each other. I ask you to help each other. Wherever you are, with this being of light as an example. We are honored by you and your radiance. I love you. Always. That love magnifies the prayers of the universe like a loudspeaker. Do you understand what I say? So when something goes wrong, stop. Take a breath. And say, I love you. I send love. It changes everything, doesn't it? Honoring you and your presence. And even though you may not walk with us in Israel, we will bring your hearts with us, always. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabaoth. You are the ones we have been waiting for. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. If I had not said it lately, I say it again. That the love of Spirit for humanity knows no limit. That in this room, your name is known. Your path is known. The issues that you bring here are known. You are not isolated from the love of God. In an old energy, there has seemed to be a wall between us. And humans in general have been trying to figure out how to get over that wall, or through it, or around it. Just to communicate with that which is spirit is an everlasting task for humanity. We have spoken of the differences between the old energy and that which is occurring now. There have been books written of it, and I speak of it constantly. What it is that is so different or beginning to be different between what was and what will be. The theme of these channelings in Petra have been the following. Do not let the past write the future. And in these things, there are many concepts we have given you. But in this moment, I would like to give you more than that. The concepts of humans working together better, of peace on earth, of cultural changes, of business and politics, has all been mentioned. But now I want to talk about you. Truly you. The ones listening to this, the ones in the chairs. There is the feeling you have about what is next, about the generations to come. And the feeling has what I would call a bias. We've said before many times, you cannot think above what you have seen or what you know. You only have the concept of what you have seen in the past. And therefore, all you think about when we talk about evolving to a better place, all you think about is the past actions becoming better. So you think of the problems in an old energy, and you think, well, they'll clear. And that is what the new energy and the new human will be. And that is where you're wrong. Dear ones, you are looking at a new paradigm of existence. What happens when consciousness in general starts to be more aware? Concepts of reality start to shift. We have said before, you don't know what you don't know. And so I wish to tell you today about you. I'm going to call this channel the Impossible Future. And it's going to be limited to only a few attributes. But the attributes are all about you, personal you. We have mentioned before that your DNA is only operating at less than half of what it was designed to by the creative source. Everything in your DNA that resounds to life, to God, to nature, is only working less than half of its efficiency. And in this new energy, the old soul starts a process where it is beginning to evolve, getting to the place where it is slightly above 40% instead of 30%. The newborns of this planet pick up this new energy, the new awareness, the new attributes when they arrive. But they're not going to get them unless they're raised by those who are here. And that is your task. The new energy by itself will then lead to a newborn receiving things you never did. But still, the elegance of how you change you today is what will change the planet tomorrow. Let's discuss it. The biggest one that has many attributes is the human who has almost total control over their own chemistry in their body, over their own akash and their own emotions. This means, dear ones, that for the first time in human history, you are starting to see only what the masters were able to do. You've seen the examples, and the stories are there, and now it's your turn. Imagine controlling your own chemistry. Imagine a situation where you can speak to those cells in your body, the group of DNA, the Merkaba around you, and where you are for the first time feeling you are in control of everything. What if I told you that you absolutely could control your immune system so that you don't get sick anymore? Perhaps a cold or two a year, which is a recalibration of chemistry in general, but nothing more. That for the first time, you, by yourself, with your own consciousness, can visualize a body that has a wonderful, robust immune system, one that will not catch diseases or turn on itself or become unbalanced for any reason. Can you imagine a life feeling healthy all the time? Dear ones, is this an impossible future? It is not. This is your legacy. It is the promise because you have come yet again in this new energy. You speak of healing, the ability to heal, the tools of healing, being a healer. What if you had control of your chemistry to the degree that you could wipe out anything that was imbalanced in your body? Isn't it interesting what you saw with the masters of this planet? Many of them. They could walk among you, touch someone, and have a healing at that moment. And you think to yourself, it would be wonderful to have that healing power so that you could touch someone and they could heal. An evolving DNA will start to have the ability for you to heal yourself instantly, even before the disease comes in. But if it is there now, you will have the ability, literally, to process it away with the instructions you give to the chemistry within you. This is not something that is a wishful thinking. It is not about positive things being entered into your system. It is about you in control of your chemistry. How would you like to be totally in control of fear? Dear ones, this is chemistry. It is part of the emotional being. It is you with you. It is the Akash inside you that continues to feed you the things that you were afraid of for lifetimes. And it stops here. I said that before, but it's part of a bigger picture. You in control. How would you like, before you go to sleep at night, to instruct your brain as it shuffles around the neurons in your brain you call dreams? And you give your body instructions that say, tonight, only good things. You have just given your body instructions to eliminate nightmares. No matter what the Akash will try to feed you, no matter what has happened in the past, it will not occur in your dreams. Some of you feel like you are a victim to the dreams that you have because you cannot control what happens when you're asleep. Oh, yes, you can. Is this an impossible future? Or is it part of you becoming more of a master than you thought was possible? Think of the other things that the chemistry in your body creates for you or against you. What if you said this to your cells? Dear cells, I understand that as a human being, I will get older. But I'm instructing you, that little machine inside you, I'm instructing the aging machine to count every other day, not every day. To stop shortening the telomeres and keep them pristine and young. This is your chemistry. Dear ones, you can slow down your aging dramatically. If you believe it, if you start practicing it, This is what the old soul has been made for in this time frame, in this new energy. The problems in the past have been with the dark and the light and how they worked against one another. And all of that kept your DNA at 30% or slightly more. This is all starting to shift and change dramatically, allowing you to do these things, to start evolving. Are you one who doesn't have much energy? Why don't you rewrite that? There are templates inside your DNA that define you. Rewrite the template. It's just chemistry. There will be those who say, well, Kryon, it sounds good, but I have a contract with God in this lifetime. And that contract says this and this and this. And part of that says, I'm using a lot of energy, therefore I'm going to be tired quite a bit. Dear ones, you just made that up. I'm going to tell you now, a contract is written in invisible ink to spirit. The contract may be real when you get here, but you control completely the details of the contract. You have to, because you shift and change. This is part of the evolving human spirit, understanding that even the relationship you have to God is going to evolve. You don't have to wait until you pass over the veil and come back to implement these things. Total control. It starts slowly. It's just like when you exercise a muscle. It starts slowly and then it builds. Now here's one you didn't expect. What happens to you? You have an idea about. Well, I go here and I do this, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In fact, there will be some who say, it often doesn't work well for me when I do this or that. Dear ones, you just wrote yourself a contract by yourself in 3D for yourself. How does it feel? It has nothing to do with spirit. It has everything to do with self-worth. It's time to rewrite the chemistry of self-worth. Everything you do, you will think has to do with chance, being in the right place at the right time by accident. How would you like to rewrite that which is synchronicity? That is possible by having a grander sense of intuition. For it's intuition that says, go here, go there, do this, do that. Gone are the days when you write yourself a contract that says you're good at this and bad at something else. Change this. Evolve into a new system that says my intuition will always lead me to the best scenario, the most benevolent outcome. I claim it. It is mine. And as you venture out into the world, expect things to work. And they're going to. You are rewriting an old program of you. It's time. How do you feel about yourself right now, really? Can you feel this starting to change? Can you feel the magnificence of your soul starting to burn through the old facade of the dark you and start to shine like it's never shone before? This is the teaching not of Kryon. It is the teaching of all angelic beings and channelers in the new energy on this planet. I just gave you the secret of knowing if channeling is accurate or not in this energy. If you hear channeled information that tells you you are less than this, run the other way. It is from an old source, and it does not represent the magnificence of the new human on the earth. This is how you can tell. And I didn't even get to compassion yet. Compassion is a rewrite of how you then see the earth, others, and the animals. This is for another channel. It's a grand concept of you starting to walk a path that you didn't even think you could walk in this life. The love of God starts to shine through better than it ever has before. Can you feel it? In closing, I say this. Every human listening to this has free choice to slam the door and keep everything the same. And many will. Be aware of what's a habit. The old energy will write a groove that you're comfortable in that says you will never get ahead. You're a victim of everything, and nothing will ever work for you. And the groove is so comfortable, and you've sat within it for so long that you have a hard time opening this door. It's up to you. Free choice has always been the king. I am Kryon, in love with humanity. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. My partner steps away to allow messages. Some would say this kind of speaking is not possible. Dear ones, humans have been speaking to the creative source since the beginning in this way. It only got organized a little while ago. And before that, humans were able to speak to that which is inside, which I've said is God. This is the last message from the Middle East in this tour. And it's appropriate that I would give a message that is a general one for all. And so let me say again what I've said before about the majesty of the human soul. God is great. God is good. God is love. God is compassion. And God represents the soul of the human being. And so we examine the soul. Before this planet was even cool, to the extent that you could live on the surface, your soul existed. You can say, if you wish, that it was a soul with your name on it. It's not quite that way. But it is magnificent. We have told you in the past that the soul really is a family. But because you are singular in your three-dimensional thinking, you see it as one. And there you are, as you, with your soul, collective, watching this planet get ready for all that would occur. Dear ones, we say again that Spirit, God, the Creator, sees the soul as one constant life. Whereas we have given you instructions that you come and you go and you come and you go, Spirit sees you as one continuous life. It's interesting that one of the guides in Egypt looked at you and said that you are all time travelers. This was an intuitive remark. That is the way that God sees you. The soul does not die. The magnificence of the soul is the creative energy of God. Inside you, right now, is the same magnificence that when you were watching this earth being created. You belong as a part of God. There is no way you can ever separate yourself from the Creator. And when this planet is finished, and when it is done in some far away time, that soul will be looking at another world and waiting for it to cool. This is what you do. And it's part of this which is called the creative source. A beautiful thing, if you think about it. Built into every single one of you is the fear of death. This is so you will not terminate, and so you will live as long as possible to spread the light you have on the planet. But there is no sting with death. It is a rejuvenation process, is a reboot process. It goes further and continues, O time traveler that you are. As you stood and watched this planet cool, if I could describe what you looked like in a multidimensional form, you were light. It's interesting to use that metaphor. You are light. And if you look at the definition of light by science, it is the existence of all colors shining brightly the same. Therefore, you cannot see any individual shades of light until you hit the earth. And then you become a human. And that's where the shades start to show with your eyes. But inside, the soul is still pure light. There are no shades of color when God sees you. There are no organizational or strata of organization when God sees you. God is great. God is good. God is love. God is the greatest compassion that exists on the planet. And in these years of humanity, humans have come together to celebrate God in many ways. But dear ones, there is one thing the humans have in common. They believe in one God. The God that is great. The God that is good. The God that sees you only as light. And so here you are, all of these years later, in an energy that starts to promote these things. Since the precession of the equinox, the prophecy of the ancients about what is happening, this planet is starting to change. We said last time we were with you, there is absolute growth in these things called intuition and evolvement, integrity, and love. People are starting to look at one another and see God inside first. When we were in Israel in 2015, we made the statement that up to now all humanity has been in black and white. And the idea of color is not there. The concept is not there. And so all they do is continue to spin in black and white. And we said to them at that time, color is coming. New concepts, new ideas, new ways to see one another, new ways to create peace that no one has even thought of. Because you cannot use the history of an old energy in order to project something in the future you don't know about. Therefore, you are not only light workers, you are a creator of new paradigms. God is good. God is great. God is inside you, every single one. When it's time to say goodbye in this tour, that concept should be rewritten. Because God never says goodbye to you, and you never say goodbye to God. Oh, time traveler, learn this concept, because you can carry that which has been kindled here in the way of love and friendship and knowledge and understanding, and it will stay with your soul for the next 1,000 lives. You will be born into it and remember it and know it and be wiser because of it. There are those on this planet teaching these things right now, new concepts that start with the human being, not in judgment, looking at the other human and only seeing family. Is this perhaps a return to the ancients? It is. Understand Gaia, the partner you have in all of these things, for it is involved with you in love. There is no goodbye. There is no sting, because God is good. God is great. God is love. And the compassion you feel for others will echo what God feels for you. This is the truth, and you will see it as time goes on. No goodbyes. And so it is.
I deliberately clear and seal this space on all sides, all directions, above and below, so only energies from the light can enter. I am so thankful to be a direct channel for the Holy Spirit and the cosmic Christ consciousness. I'm honored by the presence of each of your master guides, teachers, and angels. I know they hold the intention that all healing, all information, all releasement, all transformation, all integration is for the highest good and highest joy of each person here. I'm also thankful to be able to step aside my own personal beliefs and paradigms, my own programs, my own ideas and contracts, so that all information that comes through is clear, concise, and succinct. I do open the Akashic records to be able to see past, present, and future. And for this I give thanks. So it is good day to you, huh? Very good to see each of you again. We introduce ourselves. Our name is Adirondha. Very nice to make your acquaintance. As you know, you have acknowledged this energy in such total and complete transformation. The vessel Marilyn is reminding us to slow down for the translator. Huh? How many translators are here? They're not owning up to it, huh? So, you have acknowledged the transformation of your soul in this land of the meeting place, in this crossroads of humanity, in this crossroads of the energy of peace. With that energy of peace, we indeed ask you, dearest beings of light, to take this energy here. You remember what it was like when we crossed into and got on the bus with the vessel Marilyn and each of you and came into the airport from Egypt, that it was like a breath of fresh air. Clean, honoring of the land, honoring of the people, honoring of the culture that is different from other culture. Note that there was something, a pain in Egypt, but it is peace anchored in here. Yes? That is what we choose for you to take away with you, is to share this peace. Take a deep breath. We are an activator. We've been holding that activation in honor of tonight. Take another deep breath. That peace is now anchored in the cells of your field. And with that peace, wherever you go, wherever your journey takes you, you will reverberate with that peace. When you feel something other than peace in your energy field, it is time to bring back that breath that you just took, to anchor that peace once again. For those of you who are traveling on to Israel, you know this country that we are standing in were the first to make peace with Israel. We hope they are not the last. We know that when there is peace in Israel, there will be peace on this planet. And we still hold that possibility. It's nice that they applaud. You see, this culture here has taught you that all different energies can come together in peace. You may have a disagreement with your brother. You may have a disagreement with your sister. But that does not mean you do not love them. That means you honor and agree to disagree. But you still invite them for coffee. Huh? So you see, dearest beings of light, this is what you are to breathe here. Integrity. With our dear friend Kryon, he mentioned integrity in the beginning. You each have that integrity within you. To know that your joy, your love, your truth may not be the truth of those around you. But that does not mean it is wrong. Understand? Dearest beloveds, I am so grateful for each of you. You have opened my heart to this land again. And for that I am grateful. That integrity, that honesty is what this land was built upon for all cultures. We each must learn from that. To judge not, lest you be judged. To do unto yourself as you would do for your friend. I bring each of you to my homeland, which is now Palestine and Israel. It is my intention to bring those two groups together. I will need your help, and I am thankful for it. For you see, it has only been a short 6,000 years that there has been peace there. And the entire time scheme, that is nothing. Listen to your heart. I have told you to ask for what you need. Ask for what you want. And then I have told you, do not long for what is not before you. Every aspect of your life is orchestrated in divine perfection. As I hold a mirror up to you to see your perfection, I ask you to trust that. I ask you to see who you are, always. I ask you to laugh, to smile, to hold your heart for healing, and to know that that healing will go back generations. What you are doing now, here, with this being as your leader, gathering seeds from across the planet to show the light. You are the difference. You understand? You are the light. It matters not if you can see beyond the flashlight that you hold in your hand. It is about trusting that your soul will always be taken to the correct place, for the correct time, for the perfect energy. Otherwise, we may not have this time together. So it is once again perfect. Each one of you carries that vibration of divine perfection. I implore you to receive it always. Do you have questions for me? Yes.
What do you see when you are channeling us? What do you see of us?
What do I see? Or what does our divine link of Marilyn see? I see your open heart. I see a violet light coming from my third eye, which is why I try to choose and look into each of your eyes. I see that violet light coming into your heart to activate that love frequency within you. That is what I see. Our sweet divine link. Many times when I am here, she sees through her tears to feel that love. But what she sees is blue. Does that answer your question? I see humanity changing. I see growth with the light beings of this planet, such as yourselves. I see love, and I reflect that love back to you in ways that I am not sure how they move through this little form. And I am grateful to have the experience to look into your hearts once again. Does that answer your question?
Do you see the human organism or do you just see light?
I see the body that is filled with light. Our sweet divine link, Marilyn, she sees your organs when she tries as an intuitive, medical. I see your body, your form, and your layered elements of light that goes out beyond your auric field. So the room is fairly aglow with light now. Thank you for that question. Is there another question for me? Yes.
There's been some information, sorry, just to allow for things to happen, that there's nothing to fix. I still feel there's a lot of things coming up that needs to be cleared, and so I'm kind of confused. I don't know if I need to keep clearing or just allow.
Did you hear the question? Should she keep clearing or just allow what is present? That could be clearing.
Okay.
You see,
Понимаете?
when you pull out parts of yourself
Когда вы вынимаете части себя,
to release,
чтобы их отпустить,
the energy there is that some part of yourself was not perfect.
энергия такая, что какая-то часть
And that is not
ваша
true.
недостаточно совершенна, и это неправда.
When you integrate
Когда же вы
those imprints, as our divine
трансформируете
link calls
эту
them,
энергию,
those habits,
когда трансформируете ваши
and you
привычки,
integrate them and replace them with something of a higher vibration,
замещаете их
that is
высшей
evolution.
энергией, вот это уже
So it
эволюция.
depends on if you
То есть это
still have
зависит
things
от
to
того,
integrate.
что у вас
It is my intention and the intention of Adironda, our friend, and the rest of our Council of Light, that all humans
все люди
will evolve beyond integration
намного
and
дальше,
be the
чем
light
просто изменения,
that they were
стать
destined to
светом,
be.
которым они были созданы.
You understand?
Понимаете?
You have a question?
Thank you. I have two. I'll just start with one. I'm wondering if you have a message for the people in Palestine.
Есть ли у вас сообщение для людей, которые
They are my brothers.
они мои братья,
They are my family.
они моя семья.
It hurts my heart to feel so much anger.
Чувствую столько много
I understand.
гнева. Я
Their
понимаю,
homes have been destroyed.
их дома
Take it.
разрушены,
Their paths have been rerouted.
их
That's
дороги
at mine.
были изменены,
They have been whipped and
они были
beaten
наказаны,
and
побиты
isolated.
и изолированы.
And yet I still say
И я все еще
we
говорю,
must forgive.
вы должны простить,
We must move
вы
forward.
должны двинуться
We
дальше.
must.
Вы должны.
Otherwise humanity will end.
Иначе человечество закончится.
That is the lesson. That is why I arrived again
Поэтому я живу
in your
в
hearts
ваших сердцах
many years ago. It's to help you learn forgiveness,
помочь вам,
not judgment.
как
Yes.
прощать, а не судить.
Terrible, horrendous things have happened
Ужасные вещи случились там.
to all cultures, not just the Palestinians.
Случились для всех
The
наций, не
Spaniards
только для
took the
палестинцев.
Peruvian lands.
Например, испанцы взяли
The
землю
Germans
Перу,
took the Scottish lands.
немцы взяли
The white
землю
people took the Indians' lands.
Шотландии,
One
люди
day
взяли землю Индии.
we will learn
Но в один
not
день
to
мы
take,
научимся не брать,
but to share.
не брать, а делиться.
We ask you each
Мы просим каждого из вас
to have compassion in your heart
иметь
for all
сочувствие
Israelis,
для всех,
for all Palestinians,
всех
for
палестинцев,
all
для всех израильцев,
Jordanians,
для всех
for all
жорданцев,
Saudi
для
Arabians,
всех арабов,
for all
для всех,
humans.
для всех людей.
We didn't want to name them all. Humans. That is the commonality.
Потому что это что-то общее.
The human heart
Человеческое сердце,
is the heart to be opened.
сердце, чтобы было открытым.
That is why our sweet divine link may return to this land every year or every 2 years
И возвращаться
until
в
there is
землю
peace
каждый год.
here. She volunteered. We didn't tell her the whole scope of things at the moment, though.
Мы ей не говорили
For you
всю
see,
историю,
you volunteered as well
но вы тоже добровольцы, понимаете?
to hold that vibration.
Вы
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Did that answer your question, dear? Our divine link feels my pain now of what has happened. All bodily fluids are sacred according to Babaji, who is also on our council.
Все жидкости тела священны.
Do you have another question for me? Yes.
Marilyn, I would like you, no, I don't know who. I have a question to that entity who is talking right now.
Yes.
I would like you to give a message for those who lost loved ones, because I know there are many of us who lost loved ones. If you could tell us about it, please.
Dearest one, we do not call ourselves an entity, but it is difficult to know what I am called. There, Elan calls me master. I call him master. For those who had individuals that volunteered to help teach you, it is sad for you who are left behind, for you who are here with your loved ones, your brothers, who may have been killed in war. Who here has had someone that was lost in anger? All of you. Who here has sacrificed their own pain to move forward? Maybe all of you. There is a grand plan. That plan, those who were ended in this existence, not in their life, they volunteered for that mission, to teach the planet forgiveness, to teach the people of this planet to not judge, to not carry the pain of prejudice forward, to not carry the energy of pain forward. Please, do not make their lives be in vain. You are here to learn peace. You are here to learn love. You are here to live love. Please, learn it quickly. Learn it quickly. That is what you are doing. This young woman is teaching that. This being of light is crossing nations to teach that. This being of light is gathering seeds from around the planet to help them learn. What are you doing? What are you doing? Some of you are going to Israel for that purpose. You thought it was a vacation.
You also go to Palestine.
We also go to Palestine. Last time, we were not allowed in Palestine. And our little divine link, the vessel, Marilyn, got in a little discussion with our guide about the fact that Yeshua, I am ultimately Palestinian. That was my homeland. Bethlehem is now in Palestine. He did not like that. Yet he could not argue. My homeland is Israel, Palestine, Australia, and the rest of the planet. That is what I am here to help you teach. And I am thankful for your shining face and eagerness to know how to do that. I will speak with you in your dreams, or maybe not, to let you know your task is not finished, even though you may be getting on a plane. Your task is here to assist. You have another question for me? Yes.
Thank you. Is your, I understand you had an offspring named Sarah. Is that ancestry still alive and active in our world today?
And it brought a tremendous emotion to our divine link. No, she is not the offspring. But yes, I did have children. And yes, they do still live. And no, I will not inform you as to their whereabouts, because I would like them to continue to live. You saw what happened to me. That was my task, not yours. Thank you for the question. Yes.
We were born and then we live, and after that we die. I was wondering what was before we were born, and what is death for you, and how can we see that? How can we think about that? Because it's really, afterlife is something that we have no idea about.
That is a wonderful question. Shall I repeat the question?
Yes.
We are born, and then we die, and then we are born again, and then we die, and what is before then? We are so concerned with the afterlife. What is it? In Egypt, they built great structures to prepare them for everlasting life. And yet, everlasting life is yours already. The afterlife is a place of holding where your loved ones, where your family are there to greet you with open arms and hearts and hold you in love as I will be there as well. And your interdimensional, as Adelonda would put it, angelic realm will be there, waiting. However, They do not choose for you to cut your life short. They choose for you to live every moment on this planet. And then when it is time for you to transition from hopefully a natural cause while you are laughing, then you are welcomed with your family in the most amazing love you can possibly imagine. Your pets are there, your animals, your friends that you may have mistreated are there as well. People that have done horrendous things are there as well, because love transcends all. Whether they are taught in their religious organization to ask for forgiveness, forgiveness is theirs without asking. Before life, on this planet, there was heat, friction. It was the creative cycle. Afterlife, on this planet, is bliss. Life on this planet is heaven. There is no hell. That was made up by the religious teachers for control. This is heaven. This is what you make of it. And the afterlife is better yet. Does that answer your question?
Probably, yeah, it does. But as I understood, it's completely beautiful afterlife. Like it's just all our family are waiting for us, and we will be really happy to be there, right?
Yes.
So we should be happy to die.
You should be happy to live.
And also to die. What's after death?
And when you are ready for death, it will all be happy.
But
It is.
You don't think that like that would be fair?
It is.
Because if you were doing bad things on this planet, you would be like happily living it now and after death.
If you are doing bad things on this planet, as you have, what do they call them? Suicide bombers. They will still be loved, but they will go for re-education. They will be retrained to return to this land and then be of service. You understand? Yes. You see, the afterlife, there is no punishment. There is retraining to learn, to grow, to evolve. And for those who are in service now, it could be for what has happened before. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and that's all is in control by what we call God.
It is by the source, the term that has been identified as God. God has many names. I called God Yahweh. There is a source of all that is. That source has no judgment. That source is within every cell of your body. So when you hurt your body or hurt another body, you are hurting that source, or God, which I know some do not like that word because it renders masculinity our sweet divine link, likes God-I, as in plural. We see that it is time for us to end. We are up to you, Master Elan. Can we take one more question? Question?
I did have a fleeting question.
We heard it.
But maybe it's already been said. What is the intent you see for our journey in Israel and Palestine?
The intent for my journey back to Israel and Palestine, and to bring 30-some people with us, and each of your hearts is peace. Simply peace. No division. Always love. Joy. Laughter. An ignition and healing of guilt. Guilt serves no purpose. Shame serves no purpose. Love serves a purpose. That is my intention. And I will take each of you with me. I love you all so deeply. I had to find this person to speak willingly. Thank you. We believe that Adironda has something to say. Yes, dearest beings of light, you are each going with us in our pockets. Is that all right?
Yes. Yes.
You see, it can get very serious very quickly with Master. You are each Master in your own energy. You carry away from this land the heart of these people with you. The heart of being the center of love. As a small conclave goes where we have not been before. We honor each of you. We came all this way just for you, from the 17th dimension. Figure that one out. We love you all so much. We see you. We honor you. And we bid you namaste.